Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ed Selich, President of Speak Up Newport. I welcome you to our biennial City Council Candidates Forum. We're proud of our tradition of presenting these forums every 2 years, as we have done over the last few decades. This year is a little bit different, as we're doing it over the Zoom video due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Also, a little bit different this year is we have asked you to submit questions for the candidates, and the response we received was overwhelming. We received so many questions that we could not include all of them in the final questions. However, we tried to include your salient points in as much as possible, as many of your questions tended to fall in the same subject matter category. So thank you very much for your submissions. They really help make our questions better and help make sure that we were asking the questions that you wanted to have asked, as well as some of our more wonkier questions. Now this year we have Tom Johnson, publisher of Stu News Newport, as our moderator. Tom is also the former publisher of the Daily Pilot and former Newport Beach Citizen of the Year, and as such is well versed on Newport Beach civic issues. And with that, Tom, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Ed. It's good to be here with everybody. I want to welcome all the candidates. Thank you for all for joining us today. I want to remind the viewers out there that Newport Beach City Council members run by districts here in Newport Beach, but are elected citywide. This November, Newport Beach will elect council members to 3 different districts, 2, 5, and 7, and the entire city will be able to vote for all of the candidates, 1 in each district. Today's forum will begin with an opening statement from each of our candidates. The time limit for the opening remarks is going to be 60 seconds. Our timekeeper is Robin Grant. Robin, make yourself available there so everybody can, especially our candidates, can watch for Robin. She will hold up a sign at 15 seconds remaining for the opening and closing statements, and all other questions except for the 20-second questions will have no warning or show a time's up when the time expires. So I would ask the candidates to please watch Robin on the screen because we want to move this along pretty quickly with the answers. The forum is going to have 5 parts. We're going to have an opening statement. We're going to have what's called the lightning round, 20-second questions, 45-second questions, and closing statements. One of the things people may ask is, well, how can you say so much in a 20-second answer, a 45-second answer? Well, Ed, as Ed said at the top of this, we received a lot of questions. We're going to try to get through as much as we can, so we really want to hold to tight, concise answers. Today's webinar can also be available if you're interested on Speak Up Newport's website at www.speakupnewport.com. Our forum assumes that all of you are serious candidates and that you've educated yourself on the important issues here in Newport Beach. Answers that include, I'll have to look into that. I will have to wait until a committee or commission makes a recommendation, or I can't answer for legal reasons, are deemed unacceptable. No matter your depth of knowledge on any question, we want to hear what your opinion is. No ducking questions here, please. That's what Speak Up Newport is all about. The electorate is watching and listening. Some of the questions will have yes or no and why or why not answers. Please begin your answers on these with yes or no, and then explain. If you're unsure or don't have an opinion, answer no, and then use the why not to explain. If you do not start with a yes or no, I'm going to interrupt you and try to hold you to that. Before the opening statements, I'd like to introduce our candidates. First of all, from District 7, I'd like to welcome our mayor, Will O'Neill. Nice to have you, Will. From District 2, our incumbent is Brad Avery. Brad. The opponent is Nancy Scarborough. Nancy, nice to have you. From District 5, we have incumbent Jeff Herdman. Jeff. And his opponent is Noah Blum. Nice to have you here, Noah. And now for the opening statements. Since our mayor is running unopposed in District 7, Mayor O'Neill will just make a 60-second statement, and then he will cede his time to those running for contested seats. So Mayor, I turn it over to you for 60 seconds.
Thank you, Tom, for moderating this debate. I think you win for the best background. And thank you to Speak Up Newport for hosting. I attended Speak Up Newport's recent presentation from Orange County Sheriff Don Barnes and Newport Beach Police Chief John Lewis. And I appreciate both of them taking the time to discuss public safety this year. It reminded me of a speech I wrote, but actually did not give earlier in the year for our postponed police appreciation breakfast. I planned on discussing how seriously I take my job when it comes to making sure our police can do their jobs. The power entrusted by the people of Newport Beach to our city council is, in a word, staggering when you step back and think about it. No power is greater, though, than the power to restrain another person's civil liberties in order to maintain law and order and the general safety of our community. Every day, the men and women of our Newport Beach Police Department make decisions that change the course of other people's lives. It may be as small as a traffic ticket and as large as life or death scenarios. To that end, we recruit, train, and retain people with integrity, quick wits, a passion for justice, and an abiding sense of community. When I wrote those sentiments in March, I did not expect that 9 weeks later we would witness 5 protests in a day addressing police reform, but I could have predicted our city's grassroots rallying around our police department. When they earn our respect, then they deserve our respect and appreciation. I encourage people watching this to follow me on Facebook and Instagram for quick daily updates. And look, I'm running unopposed, but I'm going to still ask for your vote. And with that, especially knowing that there are a whole lot of questions written by a whole lot of people I know, I will cede my time for the remainder of this debate and wish everyone well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I did see Robin hold up the sign. I was a little looser on Will since he was only going to take that one opportunity to speak today, but I will hold the rest of you pretty tight to deadlines on things. Let's move on to District 2. We'll go first to Brad Avery. Brad?
Thank you, Tom. Newport Beach is a special place. I've known this from the day I graduated from Newport Harbor High School. Serving on the Harbor Commission introduced me to the unique needs of Newport Harbor and taught me how the city worked. My community service also helped prepare me for council. I'm grateful for serving 3 years before the pandemic hit. Now I am asking for another term to help lead our city to recovery. Like everyone, I look forward to reaching a new normal, but I also keep my expectations in check. 2020 has been a difficult year for all of us. It has been rewarding to work with my fellow council members in making decisions to help our city weather this storm. Our success would not be possible without the input from so many of our residences and businesses. During this time, we have also seen the extraordinary work of our police, fire personnel, and lifeguards. They have protected us during one of the most stressful periods in our city's history. Your city is running well. We will return to normal together. Thank you for your vote.
Thank you, Brad. Nancy Scarborough.
Thank you, Tom. I'm new to politics and I don't have any aspirations for higher office. In fact, until 2 months ago, I had no plan to run for city council. I was an activist who participated in many city meetings, trying to help Newport Beach be a better place to live, work, and visit. I'm running because I'm frustrated with the lack of meaningful communication between the residents and the city council majority. Our general plan update is being written by staff and consultants while we're focused on COVID. Our local businesses are suffering, and the future of our city is being planned while our attention is elsewhere. Over the next 4 years, we have some very important decisions, issues to address: economic recovery, the general plan update, and dealing with the state mandated housing requirements, which are ominous. We need a council person focused on the challenges in front of us. I'm here for the long haul. I will be informed, involved, and independent. My votes will be based on what's best for Newport residents and businesses, not outside influences. You can see more at my website, nancyfornewport.com.
Thank you, Nancy. Let's move over to District 5. Jeff Herdman.
Hi, Tom. Thank you. I want to thank Speak Up Newport, too, for providing the opportunity today for all of us to interact with the community and for them to get to know us a little better. I am Jeff Herdman, and I love the city of Newport Beach. I've been here just 8 years shy of my entire life. As an incumbent, I work hard, sometimes 7 days a week, at helping to solve some of our city's most difficult problems: the homeless, quality of life issues related to John Wayne Airport, supporting businesses during this COVID crisis, state-required housing issue, and maintaining services that you've all come to expect beside the economic effect that this pandemic is having on our city, all very challenging. Now's not the time for change in our city council. Stability and experience is what is needed. Council members who understand and know exactly what is going on in terms of the complexity of all issues facing our city. I tell you, serving on the Newport Beach City Council over the
Jeff,
past
thank
4
you.
years.
Jeff, we're going to have to stop there. Thank you. Let's move over to Noah Blom.
Good afternoon, Newport. My name is Noah Blom. I am running for City Council, as many of you will know. Why am I running for City Council has been the question most people have asked me, because I am a small business owner and I will be the only small business owner on the council. In this time, we're looking for forward thinking and entrepreneurship to get us out of the crisis. We're not dealing with the crisis, we're dealing with recovery. We need entrepreneurial spirit, we need a business acumen, we need the ideas that the public loves to tell us, and they don't tell us at City Hall, they tell us in person, while sitting down and expressing their feelings. And I'm always there for the city. Politics has never been my thing, and it's not going to continue to be my thing beyond Newport Beach. My love for Newport Beach is immense and grand, but my love for business and the success that it brings to our city is 1,000 times more important to me. So I will be here to represent every small business that exists, and I'll bring new ideas and new love to this city.
Thank you all very much. We're going to move on to part 2 of our panel today, and that is called the lightning round. This is going to be quick. It's going to be fairly, well, it's going to be short answers. We're going to ask you to, we're going to ask a series of questions. You're going to rate on a scale of 1 to 10 on how good a job our current city council is doing on issues. So I will call on each one of you and I will rotate the order of which I call on. First question is, how good a job is the current city council doing in managing the COVID-19 crisis? Nancy, I'm going to start with you. 1 to 10, 10 being good. 8, okay. Brad? I didn't realize we were writing these down, but okay.
Is that what we're doing?
No, say it, just say it out.
9.
9, okay. Noah?
I'm at an 8.
Okay, an 8. Jeff? A 10, okay. Question number 2. How good a job has the current city council done in managing the budget in light of a $33 million shortfall? Brad, we're going to start with you.
That's easy. That's a 10.
Okay, Nancy?
9.
Okay, Jeff?
A 10 for sure.
Okay, Noah?
I'll also give it a wholehearted 10 on that.
Okay. Question 3. How good a job is the current city council doing in managing traffic flow throughout our city? Noah, we're going to start with you.
So it depends on each village that you're talking about, but let's give it an overall 7. We've had some scary instances this year.
Jeff?
Give it an overall 8.
Okay. Nancy?
Overall 6.
Okay. And Brad?
I'm with Jeff on that. 8.
Okay. Final question in this segment. How good a job is the current city council doing in managing the John Wayne Airport situation? Jeff, I'm going to start with you.
A 10. A 10.
Okay. Noah?
5.
5. Okay. Brad?
10.
Okay. Nancy?
2.
2. Okay. Some differences there. Okay. We're going to move on to the next part. This is the area where the following questions are going to require a yes or no answer. Please use your yes or no paddle that you should have in front of you and show the audience your answer. If you're unsure or have no opinion, answer no. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the question and I'm going to let everybody take about 2 to 3 seconds to get going, and then I'll say, show your paddles. So everybody shows their paddles at the same time. First question, considering the city's current budget situation, Should city funds be used to subsidize the proposed library lecture hall once the crisis passes? Take a couple of seconds, show your paddles. Okay, everybody's in agreement. Question number 2. Should the flower streets in Corona Del Mar be one way? Show your paddles. Okay. 2 yeses, 2 nos. Question 3. Should electric bikes be banned from the oceanfront boardwalk? Everybody's in agreement. Okay. Question number 4. Do you support a cap on the number of short-term lodging units in the city? Okay, 3 yeses, 1 no. Number 5, given the city is required to provide 4,832 dwelling units in the housing element, would you now be in favor of the Museum House residential project in Newport Center? Show your paddles. And finally, the last question on this area: should the city more aggressively enforce COVID-19 regulations? I was told we might be having trouble seeing the paddles, so we have 3 yeses and a no from Noah Blom. Okay, we're going to move on to part 3. This is where we're going to allow you 20 seconds of response time. And I'm going to ask you questions. I will move through and we'll rotate around to who we're going to start with. First question is this: traffic is one of the top issues cited by Newport Beach residents citywide. Groups such as Line in the Sand and Still Protecting Our Newport cite overdevelopment as a significant factor in excessive traffic. In addition to what the city is already doing, what new ideas do you have to address that problem? Nancy, I'm going to start with you.
I would say calming on PCH, traffic calming measures, more interaction with the residents in Corona Del Mar. They have huge traffic problems in that area. I think those are the 2 biggest ones.
Brad.
Continue to work on signal synchronization. And just, I think, to keep working on small wins throughout the city, turn lanes, that kind of thing, get resident input on particular areas, one-way streets, that kind of thing, onesie twosies. I don't think there's a big solution. I don't think there's a silver bullet.
Okay. Noah.
The traffic is always going to be an issue, but I think if we can get people to park and walk, start looking to get some kind of a great system where people are exploring our villages and not driving through them, that helps both business and the traffic issue.
Jeff.
I'd like to see this turned back over to our citizenry in the form of a committee, in the form of a commission, possibly the formation of a new commission. I'd like to see, we have a lot of people in our city with expertise in this area, and I'd like to see that expertise tapped upon.
Okay. Question number 2. Many residents feel the constant noise of construction in their neighborhoods is intolerable. What would you do about this problem if you're elected or re-elected to the city council? And we're going to start with Jeff.
The council already did take action to curb construction hours and construction noise in the form of a new regulation that was passed last year. If that's not working, perhaps a revisit would be appropriate.
Okay, Noah.
We're speaking of residential construction and the noise created by that. I think, it's a benefit that we love our places that we live and we want to make them better and worth more. I think that's amazing. You know, we know no one likes noise, especially early in the morning, but we're going to power through. It shouldn't last too long. And we care about our neighbors as much as they want to care about us.
Okay, thank you. Brad.
We're in an extraordinary time of low interest rates. It's been going on for some time. Newport is constantly rebuilding, and more so now than ever. We did vote to take Sunday off the table. We could take Saturday off the table, but that would at great cost to people trying to rebuild their homes.
Nancy.
I have a home under construction to the south of me and a home under construction to the north of me. This is a big issue for me. The weekend restrictions on building have helped the city ordinance. Enforcement is still a problem. There's not a good way to report it, and nothing seems to happen when you do. And I think just having a relationship with the contractor and discussion helps.
Okay, thank you. Question number 3. With the state mandate on dwelling unit numbers that are going to be required, do you support adding over 5-story high-rises, residential high-rises in the Newport Center? Yes or no, and why or why not? Oh, I'm sorry, we're gonna start with Nancy. Yes or no?
No.
Okay.
And
Why not?
that's a qualified no. I think that buildings could be higher depending on what other views they obstruct and what other traffic implications they have. But I don't think a carte blanche just making everything okay is fine. I don't think that that's fine.
Okay, Brad, yes or no?
I generally support 5 stories, and it's happening there now.
So yes.
And I think that area is one of the few places where we can develop our housing numbers, develop our affordable housing. That's going on right now. So I think, like it or not, we're sort of in this position where we need to get our RENA numbers in line going forward with the state's mandate, and that's a good place to do it. Better than any other place I can think of in the city.
Thank you. Noah.
Yes. I think we have some very specific areas of growth in our city and some very specific areas we're not going to grow our city. I think the villages are sacred and cherished, and I think they have an opportunity in Newport Center to find some really beautiful, well-proportioned development. So I would love to see that we can mitigate the idea and keep focused on what our goal is, to beautify Newport.
Jeff, yes or no?
Yes, Tom, I support it, just as long as the stair-step master plan for the development of Fashion Island is adhered to.
Okay. Question number 4. Arguably, besides Coast Highway through Corona del Mar and Mariners Mile is the most visible icon of traditional Newport Beach character to those driving Coast Highway through Newport Beach. If elected, would you propose to reverse the City Council decision to add the third lane? Yes or no, and why or why not? Jeff?
Yes, I would. I totally agree with the old Newport flavor of Mariners Mile, and I'm very interested in preserving it.
Okay. Noah?
I would say no. I have no rear view mirror on my agenda. I only have a forward-looking agenda. I don't like to reverse things that are done. We can definitely look to remove some regulations and make things a little bit more streamlined, but you know, and I hate traffic. I love the homes, but it is something I don't want to look towards the past. I want to look towards the future.
Thank you. Brad?
I would not support in any manner 3 lanes, adding additional lane anywhere along Pacific Coast Highway going through our villages. And I advocate more bridges, which we're doing. And I hope we can encourage business to do bridges in certain areas and get people over the top of traffic and reduce signals.
Nancy?
I don't remember whether the answer is no or yes, because I forgot how it was worded, but I do not support, I would reverse and have 2 lanes. I think we need to slow the traffic down. When you slow traffic down, people stop and look, they shop, they go to restaurants, they see what's happening. I think that Mariners Mile would love to become a Corona Del Mar. I think that's what the residents want in this area.
Question number 5. Recently, the City Council decided to suspend the general plan in favor of pursuing the housing element. This will entail amending the land use element and the circulation element without a comprehensive general plan update. Do you agree with the City Council decision? Yes or no, and why? And why or why not? Nancy, start with you.
No, I don't think that we legally can amend a portion of the general plan without addressing all of the elements. I think that they are all intertwined, and I don't see how it's going to work. I think it's not going to work.
Brad.
No, in certain instances, I think we can and should do that when we're looking at things that need to be decided now. And I think we have enough of a grip, if you will, on what areas need in relatively small patches. So I think we should have that flexibility to do that, and we are doing it.
Okay. Noah.
Wow. No, I don't think we should move forward with amending. Was that the question, amending the general plan? Is that what we're talking about right there?
Of suspending the general plan in favor of pursuing a housing element.
I think we've had a 3-point plan here of fighting Sacramento, working to do what we can, and proving that we can't do what they're asking of us. So amending the general plan, I'd like to have the citizens involved in that question.
Okay. Jeff.
Absolutely, yes. We have a very specific need to address our arena numbers. We have a very specific approach that's been defined by the council, a 3-pronged approach. And I think it's most appropriate that we address this now and not wait for a general plan update.
Okay. Question number 6. Both federal and state agencies are increasingly placing requirements for local agencies to address sea level rise. Since so much of Newport Beach is susceptible to sea level rise, do you think the city should aggressively pursue an adaptive plan for sea level rise? Yes or no, and why or why not? Jeff, we're starting with you.
Absolutely, we should. Interesting question, since I met with Representative Ruda just this week on the beach over at Newport, on the peninsula, to talk about this topic. Absolutely, we should come up with not necessarily an aggressive plan, but a creative, conservatively moving forward plan on this topic.
Okay, Noah.
Yes, of course, all issues need to be addressed. Aggressive plan, Jeff and I don't always agree on everything, but in this case, aggressive usually means costly, and I'm not a fan of costly. I'm a fan of creativity, and I'm sure we can find some reasonable, fiscally responsible creativity here.
Okay, Brad.
We've already been seeing a gradual response to sea level rise with the modification of the seawalls in Balboa Island and the change in heights, allowing basically a understory along the beach from 30th Street out, going toward further reaches of West Newport. So we're doing it already. It's measured, and we're monitoring. And this really needs to come from people to do this.
Okay.
An aggressive plan would really be disruptive.
Thank you. Nancy.
Yes, I do agree. We need a plan. I think the word aggressive is maybe overstated, but this is not going to change. We're going to have to deal with it. The building codes are changing to reflect requirements to deal with it. And so we have to be proactive. We have to do something with it. And I'm looking forward to hearing from Jeff about his meeting with Ruda, because I think that's very interesting.
Great. Question number 7. Although recently overshadowed by COVID-19, homelessness is still a major issue. The city is required to provide a 70-bed shelter and is in active negotiations with the city of Costa Mesa on a shared facility. If those negotiations fail, specifically, where in Newport Beach do you feel such a shelter should be located? Noah?
We only have a couple of areas that this is even a possibility. I think the airport and the airport area is one of our only possibilities for such a thing. We have very few residents, if any, in that area. Really, I think there has to be an alternative route to fight the state and really push forth so that we can keep our city clean, beautiful, and amazing.
Thank you. Jeff?
I look at things as if the glass is half full rather than half empty. Our negotiations with the city of Costa Mesa are not going to fail. I really can't talk about this issue that much because it's still in closed session, but we have a definite plan in place and it's going to work.
Nancy?
I think that if we were to fail at those negotiations, which I have faith that we won't, I believe that whatever we do, we need to have it on the border of another city or in an industrial area. The airport might work, but it needs to be away from residences. Unfortunately, because of the RENA situation, people are looking at some of those areas for housing. So it's a problem we're going to have to discuss.
Thank you.
Citizen involvement.
Brad?
Yeah, I see both Costa Mesa and Newport Beach equally motivated for different reasons to work together. So I see this happening. And of course, it should happen because it's much better to have sort of a regional center than individual cities going forward. It saves costs and avoids sort of an unnecessary duplication. Our numbers have dropped dramatically. We're down to about 20 from the past
Great.
count last winter at 61.
Thank you. So I just want to revisit this question. I just want a one or two word answer, because what we ask there is, yes, we're hoping perhaps that we will find agreement with the city of Costa Mesa, but the question was, if we don't, where would you put it? And Noah answered the question. I would like a specific area from each one of you. If it does fail, where would you put the homelessness shelter? Jeff?
Probably have to look in
Just tell me one area.
mixed use area of our city.
Okay. Nancy?
Industrial area or by the airport.
Brad?
I agree with Nancy.
Okay, thank you. Question number 8. Traditionally, the City Council takes a hands-off approach to the school district projects. However, a recent controversy regarding tree removal at Ensign Middle School, much to the dismay of some area residents, took place. Do you think the City Council should have taken a more aggressive position on the issue? Yes or no, and why or why not? Brad?
No, because the school district has the right to do that like any private property owner. So that land is owned by the state, essentially, school district, and they can do what they want. And unfortunately, I believe the school board really didn't listen to the residents. They're not used to listening to the residents, I believe, in a forum like the council does, where we really get a sense of what the demand is. But that was a total cluster.
Okay, thank you. Nancy?
It was a mess. And I think the city should have done more. There was a permit that for a curb cut that could have been stopped a little bit to give us more time to negotiate with the city, force their hand, with the school district and force their hand. And I think that the city needs to have a better working relationship with the school district. We're tied together at the hip. We have to have communication with them.
Jeff?
No, I do not think the city should have done more. I think the city did ample, even to the extent of offering alternative plans for this parking school exit and school entrance issue that they're trying to address. Maintaining good working relationships with the school district is extremely important also, which we've always enjoyed.
Okay. Noah?
It's a tough one. My wife will probably kill me for this, but I'm going to say no. I believe in the jurisdictions that run. I do believe we need to put more pressure on the school district for a number of reasons right now, especially. But the trees are always a big point for everybody. We love them. They make our city great. But in this regard, it was their district. We can push them as much as we want, but it's up to them.
Thank you. Part 4, we're going to move into. It's 45-second question or answers to questions. We are going to ask each of you a question with a specific reason or action that you would take. Question number 1 is this. At a previous forum, you know what, I missed a very important question in part 3, and I want to jump back to it. I apologize. Question number 9 in part 3 was, given the recent problems, and this is important, otherwise I would have just skipped it, given the recent problems with early prison releases, resulting in a strain on police resources in Newport Beach, are you in favor of increasing police funding levels? And if so, where would the funding come from? And we're going to start with Noah.
Yes, I am in favor of increasing police funding levels, especially in relation to early prison release. And I feel like we're blindsided from Sacramento on this one.
Where would the funding?
Where would the funding come from? That is always the question. I think we have been amazingly conservative on both the top and bottom end of our budget. And so those are moments where maybe we don't hire temporary staff. We don't want to address infrastructure, but we are definitely pushing to push back on some of those extraneous projects.
Thank you. Jeff.
Yes. Ask the question again, Tom. I want to
Okay, where would you said yes for additional funding.
Yes.
Where would the funding come from?
We just have to do a thorough examination of our expenditures. Something would have to go. But to me, it would be worth it.
Okay, Nancy.
Yes, if the chief asks for it and from the general fund.
Okay, Brad.
Yeah, Nancy's correct on that. You know, we don't really act until the chief asks for it. And so if he did, we would find the money. That would probably come from sort of the same system that we use to reduce the budget for the COVID, which is a 6-tiered system, starting with infrastructure, core infrastructure funds, and working our way down to, you know, more critical functions that would impact services.
Thank you. Now we move to part 4. These are 45-second questions, or answers to questions, as I said earlier. We're going to ask you each a question with a specific reason or action that you would take. At a previous forum, all of your answers, with a few exceptions, were pretty much the same. Please explain the one issue that you believe most differentiates you from your opponent. Noah.
Small business. I'm a small business owner. I care immensely about the success of all of the things that make Newport great. We have politicians and principals and people that have been in public service for a long time, and that's wonderful. I applaud you and thank you. But right now we need an entrepreneurial spirit to get us out of what we're going into. It's about recovery right now. It has nothing to do with reaction. You know, that's where we're looking. We need the idea that we're going to rebuild the small businesses that have suffered the most during this.
Okay. Jeff, how do you differentiate from Noah?
Well, based on Noah's response to the question about John Wayne Airport and the work that's being done there, I would say that that is probably the area that differentiates us the most. My 4 years of chairing the aviation committee in this city, the repurposing of it, the reorganizing of it, it has new meaning, it has new purpose, and the progress we're making can be seen in our current work with the FAA, with the pilots, with the chief pilots, with the airlines, and with the board of supervisors. We are making a difference. I'd say that differentiates us the most.
Thank you. Nancy, what differentiates you from Brad?
35-year career as a small business owner, feet on the ground, lots of struggles, ability to deal with those on a moment-by-moment basis. And I've been involved in a diverse range of city issues, committees, commissions. This morning I was on a coastal commission call. Yesterday we had the city council and study session, housing, airport, today airport. Lots and lots of things across the board. I believe that I have a broader base of knowledge in all aspects of the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Brad, what differentiates you from Nancy?
Well, I think in general, we're pretty close in a lot of subjects. But I would say overall, I'm I'm certainly not a no growth person. And I believe growth is vital to a vibrant city. We're an aspirational city. And there's a reason why you see all this construction going on. And it's because people believe in Newport Beach and they come here and they're successful, and it just begets more success. And that doesn't mean rampant growth. We're still building within all the codes and all the rules, but we're just regenerating all the time. And it does create issues. It does create traffic issues, and we have to mitigate those, but it's not going to stop. It's just the way it is. I don't see Newport going back. We're not Laguna Beach. It's very different. And people get to choose where they're going to live.
Question number 2. Do you believe the current city council is being transparent with the city's residences? Yes or no, and why or why not? Let's start with Brad.
Yes, I think we're transparent. I mean, we sit up there and we listen and we report out. My cell phone is out there for people to call. I just think this council, and I just say this with all certainty, we are working together, and we're very different, and we don't agree, and I think people can see that on things, but we do come together on a lot of things. And I think we're very transparent, given kind of the constraints we have, certainly closed session items, and Mr. Mosher keeps commenting on that, and he's not entirely wrong, but I think we're trying to negotiate the best for our citizens, and it does require confidentiality.
Great. Nancy.
I think they try in some cases, so I guess it's, well, okay, so no, I don't think they're very transparent in all cases. If you watch council meetings, there have been a number of times when decisions have been really made before the council meeting occurs, and you get up and have 3 minutes of discussion or 3 minutes of a presentation, and it doesn't matter. There's no discussion. The decision is made. So watch a council meeting. Sometimes it's disheartening.
Okay. Jeff.
Of course I'm going to say yes. I work very hard at being transparent as a council member. I communicate weekly with my constituency in the form of a blog and a newsletter. Communication is absolutely the key to the game here. So personally, I exercise a tremendous amount of transparency as a council member.
Okay. Noah.
As the council as a whole, that's a difficult question. As individual council members, I think that's what I'm hearing on the street. The reason I'm running against Jeff is because that has been the fracture on Balboa Island. 2 associations, 2 merchant associations, all of them have complained about transparency. My goal is 100% transparency. You know, everyone knows how to reach me. They call me daily. I see people every day at the restaurants. They voice their concerns. The goal is that we are in this together as a city. The city needs to know what's going on, especially in the districts they care the most about. The villages are their concern. So we need to be especially transparent in each of the villages.
Okay, thank you. Question number 3. Newport Beach has a council manager form of government. Almost 2 years ago, the city council revised council policy A1, allowing the mayor to place items on the council agenda at the mayor's discretion. This is a departure from past procedures where the city manager placed items on the agenda and the city council as a whole could vote on what items to place on the agenda. It now allows the mayor to place actions on the agenda at the mayor's discretion without concurrence from the city council. Do you believe that this has given the mayor too much power? Yes or no, and why or why not? Noah.
No, giving an elected official that was elected by the population the power to put agendas or items on is much better than giving city staff the opportunity to put things on. The people talk to the mayor. They communicate with him. They want him to put things on the agenda so the city council can vote. They don't get to elect the city manager. They don't get to decide if the city manager is making wonderful decisions for the city. But the voice is in the vote. Let's make sure that voice stays in the vote and doesn't go with city staff solely.
Okay. Jeff.
No. This happened the first year I was on council. The council has a responsibility annually to take a look at council policies and to make revisions as appropriate. There was a subcommittee that was formed completely unbeknownst to me that was formed to take a look at council policies the first year I was on council. And the change in A1 came to council for a vote, and it was voted on and it was approved. I have never supported that. I've never supported that change. I see my time's up.
Nancy.
I don't know a lot about this policy. I wasn't on the council, so this is not something that's been talked about in public very much. I would say that I think that the council and the mayor should be able to put items on the agenda. And if the council is working together cooperatively, that should work beautifully. If there's a council majority that is running the show and others are cut out of those decisions, that is not the way to handle it. I do think that the city manager is probably less informed than the council and the mayor about things that are happening on the ground.
Okay.
They aren't in touch with the public.
Brad.
Yes, when it's working well, I think it's a good thing. Things come up, and this year has been extraordinary, and it's allowed the mayor to put things on the agenda related to COVID and other things, and special meetings and the rest of it. So having that flexibility is good. And but regardless, so I'm generally in favor of it, but it can be an issue if we have sort of what I would like to call a runaway council, where you've got 4 members dominating all the time. And so that, that's the risk. And we don't have that now. And I think the public can see it, and they could take care of it. But generally speaking, I'm in favor, and it's certainly been working well on this council. And we can always review it, and council can always take care of it and turn it around if needed, if you can get 4 votes. Thank you.
Question number 4. The city, airfare, airport working group, other civic groups have been working on containing the noise and traffic from John Wayne Airport. Some residents are not satisfied that enough is being done. In addition to what already is being done, what new ideas do you have? Brad.
Tom, this is such a tough issue, and people are affected differently depending on where they live. They're affected differently because of their own particular sensibilities. And, I think the work of the airport committee has been extraordinary. We are greatly constrained. We're so fortunate. We have the settlement agreement in place. We watch it like a hawk. We look, and anytime there's even a smallest threat, we're on it. So we're doing, I think, the best we can. We're holding out. Everyone's hoping for better technology and quieter planes, but we just have to face reality. It's always going to be there. And my brother, who lived on the peninsula for years and just loved it, moved off the peninsula, moved to Huntington Beach because he just couldn't take the airport noise anymore. So I'm really aware of this impact on people, and it's not good.
Okay. Nancy.
The airport affects people. It's probably the second biggest issue we have right now after RENA. The noise is incredible if you live under the traffic pattern. I'm very aware of what's going on right now. The General Aviation Improvement Plan leases are going to be voted on Tuesday. There's not been any serious support for the airport groups that are advocates groups who are trying to deal with this, and the council hasn't really helped. Jeff's worked very hard, and he's been in a position that has not had a lot of backing. So I think that the council could do more by supporting the committee that they already have set up. It doesn't receive the respect it has been charged with.
Okay, Jeff.
Here's what we're working on right now. Getting planes to fly up to 4,000 feet before leveling out. Coasting out over the coast before they throttle up. We're working on some minor dispersion, going back to some dispersions when it comes to takeoff. We're working on tax incentives through legislation to get airlines to purchase quieter engines. We're working on getting all airlines to fly NADP-1 out of John Wayne Airport. It has been proven to be the quietest takeoff procedure. And we're working on legislation.
Okay, thank you. Noah.
You know, the hard part for me at the airport is that it's gotten worse, not better. In 4 years, I understand there's been a committee working really hard to adjust it, but the complaints have gotten more, not less. We can't get the airlines to the table. We have the FAA sitting there, but we can't get the airlines.
Not true.
We need the disbursement. We need them on board. We need them taking off higher like they used to. We need to pressure them more than we've ever pressured them before. And 4 years is too long to pressure somebody. If we were in business for 4 years and it took us this long to get results, we'd be out of business. So the goal is now to find the fire and get that fire lit.
Okay. Question number 5. One of the biggest financial issues facing the city of Newport Beach is the unfunded liability for city employee pensions through the PERS plan. The city council opted to continue to accelerate its PERS payments in the current budget. If the current budget revenue projections fall short come mid-year, should the city cut the accelerated pension program in order to maintain the current levels of service to its residents? So should the city cut the PERS payments if we're in a budget crunch? I want a yes or a no. Noah.
No, we shouldn't.
Yeah.
No.
Sorry, we're going to get through some more questions. Jeff.
Yes, absolutely. We've already discussed that. And that is definitely going to be one of the first areas
Brad.
to look at. You just want a yes or no, Tom?
Yes or no on that?
Yes.
Okay, Brad.
Yes.
Nancy.
Yes.
Okay. This is a district-specific question for each of you. What is the most important issue in your district, and how would you address that? Let's go to District 2 first, and let's start with Brad.
Well, that is traffic through neighborhoods. It's Pacific Coast Highway traffic. It's the development of Mariners Mile. So those are the most important issues. And just basic safety on streets, the whole sidewalk issue, street lights, that's another one. But the traffic is the big one, of course. And it needs continual work.
Nancy.
The development on Mariners Mile is going to cause additional traffic impacts and service impacts that have to be dealt with immediately. That's we know that's coming. RENA is going to affect us right now. The housing committee is looking at places to put high density, low income housing, and they've got their eyeballs peeled for a lot of areas in West Newport, which are now industrial. Those are in jeopardy of becoming high density housing. So we're going to have more traffic and more problems with the infrastructure that goes along with all of that. So those are two huge issues.
Okay. Jeff?
District
what's facing
5,
you in District 5?
pardon?
I said, what's facing you in District 5?
District 5 starts at the water in the harbor, and it goes straight up the city. And it just happens to mirror the takeoff pattern from John Wayne Airport. I would say that quality of life issues as they relate to John Wayne Airport and the takeoff procedures is probably the biggest issue affecting the people in District 5.
Noah?
District 5, as I have learned, is Balboa Island. They love the island. I love the island. The fracturing of that island has been severe. I mean, as I stated before, 2 improvement districts, 2 merchants associations, anger at all holds. They need leadership there. It's been an island without leadership. No one can meld them together, and no one can bring them together. Without strength at the top, you don't have strength throughout. So my focus, my goal is to bring Balboa Island back together, to hear what the residents have to say, and let's get things done there.
Okay. Question number 7. The City Council has objected to the 4,832 required housing units as excessive and has appealed that number. However, even if the housing units are reduced for Newport Beach, it will still be a significant amount that comes to town. Where would you place those housing units? And we're going to start with Noah.
So I think the important thing to talk about on this is that they're looking for low income housing and a huge amount of those. That is the troubling factor we have in Newport, which is why we're so amped on appealing this. Where would we put those? Well, we have very few districts that are able to even hold those. Our villages can't. They're small, they're residential, they have beautiful main streets, leave them alone. Really, we have the airport and Newport Center. Beyond those 2, Newport Center, because of property rights, we have very little to do there. The airport could use some redevelopment. So if we have to find something, let's find something out there where we at least can build a new community with some kind of great master plan. But other than that, leave my villages alone.
Okay. Jeff?
You know, I was with the people 4 years ago in their opposition to and defeat of the museum house, and I'm with them today on opposition to these almost impossible numbers that we have to plan for. Just this week, and the number's been thrown around, Tom, you just mentioned it, 4,834 units. Half of those have to be for low-income housing. Our approach so far has been to oppose, to work on legislation, and then finally to find a way to comply. But you know, the bottom line here is that not everyone gets to live in Newport Beach.
Where would you put them? Any place? If you're required, where do you put them?
That'll depend upon the work of the Regional Housing Committee.
Okay. Nancy?
This is an impossible number. The 4,800, 2,400 have to be low income, and in order to have that happen, a developer needs to have a project that has 5%, 10%, maybe 20% low income. That means that we're not talking about 2,400 or 4,800, we're talking about 10,000 or 15,000 new units. It's not possible. We don't have schools, we don't have water, we live in a desert, we don't have sewers. There's just no way this can work. We have got to push back. There are residents who have come up with some pretty innovative plans, and maybe those will be listened to at some point, but we're going to have to find another solution to this. It's just not possible.
Brad?
Yeah, Nancy speaks to that pretty well. It's just going to take everything we've got. So West Newport, I see West Newport as radically changing going forward if, you know, we're pressed on this, and obviously the airport area, and obviously Newport Center area. And, you know, there's some others places that are sort of quote unquote sacred that we might be able to do something with. And then of course we've got in communities this, the ADU movement, if you will. People are, those are happening, not nearly any kind of numbers that really move the needle, but they are affordable housing, generally smaller. And we're going to see neighborhoods change a little bit. We're going to have duplexes and triplexes. They won't look like a duplex or a triplex, but they'll basically be working like that. And that'll happen because The land is so expensive, people can't afford to move to Newport unless they can
Thanks.
rent out and get income from other units.
Okay. Thank you. We're going to move to part 5, which, believe it or not, we're about to the top of the hour. We're going to go to closing statements. You're each going to have 30 seconds to summarize why the electorate should vote for you come November for City Council. Brad Avery, we're going to start with you.
Thank you, Tom. The City Council exists to meet the needs and demands of residents, businesses, and visitors. I enjoy contributing to this engaging process. I strive to listen, learn, and make the right moves that reflect good policy and the will of the majority. I'm committed to protecting property values and property rights. We must continue to support small businesses. We must be vigilant against airport noise and pollution, maintain clean waterways, reduce traffic congestion, and modernize Newport Harbor. I will continue to oppose and minimize the impacts of the state's misguided housing policies, which threaten our quality of life with major density increases. I look forward to serving 4 more years on City Council, and I ask you for your vote. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Nancy.
Thank you, Tom, and friends at Speak Up Newport for this opportunity. As your next council person, I will be involved, informed, and independent. I ask that you be involved and vote in this election. I ask that when you vote, that you make informed choices. And I hope that you vote for people whose decisions will be independent. I would be honored to have you vote for me in this election. Please look for nancy@newport.com for more information. Thank you.
Okay, Jeff.
I'm running for re-election because I want to continue to lead the effort in having an impact on quality of life issues as it relates to John Wayne Airport. We've got some great projects planned too with the Tidelines Water Quality Committee. I want to see those through to completion. I think providing stability, institutional knowledge, and mindful change in these unprecedented times is extremely important. And I want to continue to be the voice of reason, to exercise transparency, and to keep people of our city well informed on all the issues that have a direct impact on them.
Okay.
So I ask you to give me that opportunity to continue to represent you when you vote this November.
Thank you, Jeff. Noah.
This is not the time for politics as usual. We are in a recovery. We need to get back to business. And I'm the only business person that will be on the council. With an entrepreneurial spirit, I'm going to push forward. We're going to constantly be building to get what we need out of our independent businesses so that we can find the strength this city needs to stay on the right path. We can't mistake activity for productivity. Just because we've been doing something for 4 years doesn't mean we've been doing it well. Vote for me for City Council. I would greatly appreciate it.
I want to thank all 4 of you for taking the time today to meet your electorate. I want to thank Speak Up Newport for giving me the opportunity to moderate this program. You know, it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of commitment for each one of you to throw your hat in the ring. And I just want to take a moment and commend each one of you for doing that. So thank you very much on behalf of the city of Newport Beach. Robin Grant, I want to thank you for doing a great job keeping time. And I'm going to turn it back over to Speak Up Newport President Ed Selich.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you, Tom, and thank you all the candidates for participating in this forum and letting us get to know you better. It's important so that we can make a educated choice when we go to vote in the November election. Robin, I want to thank you for taking care of the time out. This is doing these Zoom videos is something that's new to us at Speak Up Newport, and so things don't always go perfect. I got my, must be a lot of you watching because I got a whole bunch of emails and messages during the forum that the lightning round questions were not visible. And so what we're going to do is we're going to post the individual answers to the lightning round questions on the Speak Up Newport website along with the video. And then maybe Tom And Stu News can also post your individual answers on there so everyone can see how you answered individually. And we apologize for that, but that was a technology glitch on our part. And also another issue that came up was that, again, I got some messages from council members that actually council policy A1 has been reversed by the city council.
That's right.
However, I think the gist of that question still stands, but there was an error in that question that A1 policy has been reversed by the city council. So again, thank all of you for coming and participating in the forum. Thank all of you for watching. Please plan on joining us on October the 14th for our next webinar in this series. Watch for our announcements on the program and how to register. And until then, be sure to social distance and be safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ed.
Thanks.